Hello and welcome back. Now that we had a quick look at the code generated by the Ionic start command, let's customize this app a bit more. Let me open the Chrome Developer Tools so we can see if there are any messages in the console. You'll see a warning here saying Cordova is not available, but that's absolutely normal when running the application with Ionic Serve, because Cordova is only available when we run our app on iOS or Android as a proper mobile app. We'll talk more about Cordova later in the course. Now let's go back to implementing our love calculator. This gray bar at the top, maybe it looks a bit too serious for this app that is pretty much a game. We could make it a bit more colorful. So let's see how we can change the color of the header bar. On the Ion navbar component, we can set the color attribute and pass, for example, primary, that represents the primary color in the Ionic theme. And as you can see, the primary color by default is blue. Now, how do we know which colors are available? Let's go to the Ionic documentation page. Let me maximize this window so you can see better. If we click on UI components, we can find some documentation for each component, including this nice preview frame that looks like a phone here on the right. One way to see the color palette is to look at buttons. Here we can see what an Ionic button looks like, but also there's an example for each color, and these 5 colors you see here are the color palette defined in the default Ionic theme. There is a light color that is light gray by default. There's a primary color, that's the blue we've seen in our header bar. It says default here because it's the default color for a button, but as we've seen, we can use it by setting color to primary. The secondary color is green, danger is red, and dark is almost black. So if we go back to our code and set the color to danger, can you remember which color we will actually see? There you go, it's red. So why is it called danger if it's red? Why not just call it red? Well, that's because danger means red in the default theme, but we can define our own theme colors and decide that danger in our app should be displayed as yellow, for example. This is something that Ionic makes really easy to do. Let's see how it works. Let me reset this color to primary first. And if we look inside the source theme folder, there is this variables.scss file. This is where we can override the default colors and also other properties like fonts and so on. This is an SCSS file. Ionic uses Sass for styling, and Sass is a CSS preprocessor. That means that this file will be transformed by Sass into regular CSS styles that will then be loaded by the browser. So an SCSS file is similar to a CSS file, but it provides a more powerful syntax. For example, you can declare variables that you can then use later in your styles. Colors are defined down here. You can see that the primary is set to 387EF5, which is the RGB notation that corresponds to the blue we see in the header bar. Let's change it to a dark green, for example. That should be 00 for red, say 99 for green, and 00 for blue. Save. And the Ionic Serve process will recompile all SCSS files to use our new variable values, and our header bar is now green. It's not just the bar, if you notice, the docs link is also green in the content where it says the docs will be your guide. So the color we set as primary will affect multiple things. If we set it to something else, like yellow to use a named color, of course, our header bar will change accordingly. Now, yellow is probably not the best choice, so let me revert back to the default value, that is this nice blue. We'll simply use the default theme values in the rest of this example, but be aware that you can fully customize the Ionic theme if you like, And this is a great feature of Ionic because you probably don't want your app to look exactly like all the other apps created with Ionic. Enough about theming for now. In the next video, we'll add some actual content to our app. I'll see you later.